My girlfriend became pregnant by her best friend, and her family paid to keep it under wraps. So, I turned her gender reveal party into an unforgettable public revelation. I'm 32 and just executed what might be the most satisfying truth unveiling ever. My unfaithful girlfriend's gender reveal party became the day everyone found out she had been lying about everything. I've been with Jenna for 3 years and engaged for 6 months. She's 28, works in marketing, and comes from a wealthy family. Her parents own a successful construction firm and always cared about their reputation in our small town. 4 months ago, Jenna informed me that she was expecting. I was taken aback but thrilled. We had been discussing marriage and children, so this just accelerated our plans. Jenna seemed excited yet anxious, often saying things like, "I hope this brings us closer, and promise me we'll deal with any challenges together." I thought she was just worried about how parenthood would change our relationship, normal pregnancy jitters. What wasn't normal was her sudden secrecy about everything related to the baby. She managed all the doctor appointments by herself, rarely sharing details about how things were progressing. When I offered to accompany her, she'd say the appointments were routine and dull. Another oddity was how much time she started spending with Marcus, her college friend. They had always been close, but recently they were together all the time. Coffee dates and long phone calls she took in private. When I pointed out that Marcus seemed to be around a lot, Jenna became defensive, claiming he was just being supportive during her pregnancy and that I was being paranoid. 3 weeks ago, I stumbled upon something that changed everything. Jenna had left her laptop open on the kitchen table, and a text notification from Marcus caught my eye. "Can't wait to meet our daughter. Just wish we didn't have to keep this secret much longer. Our daughter, not my daughter." I stared at that message for about 10 minutes, then scrolled through their conversation history. What I found was months of exchanges between them. Not just friendly chatter, but intimate discussions about the pregnancy, the baby, and their relationship, dating back to before Jenna even told me she was expecting. The timeline was obvious. Marcus knew about the pregnancy before I did. They had been planning how to handle the situation for weeks before Jenna approached me with the news. There were messages about how to manage me and keep Marcus' involvement hidden, as well as plans for what they would do after the baby arrived. The most damning message was from 2 weeks ago, where she mentioned, "My parents are planning a big gender reveal party. It's getting harder to pretend this is his baby when we both know the truth." Marcus replied, "Just a few more months, and we can figure out how to be together properly." I took screenshots of the entire conversation, pages of evidence showing that they had orchestrated this deceit while I was preparing for fatherhood. That evening, when Jenna came home, I acted as if everything was normal, didn't mention the messages or confront her. I needed time to devise a plan. Over the next few days, I observed her behavior more closely. The secretive phone calls made sense now. The private meetings with Marcus weren't just friendly support. They were co-parents planning how to manage their real relationship while keeping me as the convenient backup. The gender reveal party was scheduled for last Saturday. Jenna's parents had organized a large celebration with both families and friends, about 50 people in total. They rented a community center, hired caterers, made it a grand event. On Friday night, Jenna seemed particularly anxious, repeatedly asking if I was excited about the next day and whether I thought our families would be thrilled about becoming grandparents. Saturday morning, she left early to help with the setup. I spent the morning preparing what I was going to say. The party began at 2 p.m. as planned. Both our families were there, along with friends and some of her parents' business associates. Everyone was eager to discover if we were having a boy or a girl. Jenna's dad delivered a speech about how proud they were to welcome their first grandchild. My parents were overjoyed about becoming grandparents. The setup was classic for a gender reveal, a large cake with either pink or blue filling inside. Jenna and I were supposed to cut it together while everyone watched and took photos. At 2:30 p.m., we gathered around the cake table. Jenna held my hand, smiling nervously, while both families positioned themselves for photos. Before we cut the cake, I announced, "I need to share something important with everyone." Jenna's expression shifted to panic. "What are you doing?" "I'm making sure everyone knows the truth before we celebrate." I pulled out printed copies of the text message screenshots. 3 days ago, I discovered that Jenna and Marcus have been lying to all of us about this pregnancy. The room fell silent. Jenna's face turned pale. These are text messages between them discussing their baby and their relationship. I held up the papers showing messages where Marcus referred to her as our daughter, and where they talked about how difficult it was to pretend this was his baby, meaning me. I passed the printed messages to both sets of parents. Jenna's been unfaithful with Marcus, and this is his baby, not mine. That's when chaos erupted. Jenna started crying, claiming the messages were taken out of context. Her mother was horrified as she read the screenshots. My parents looked devastated. Marcus, who had been invited as Jenna's supportive friend, tried to leave, but several people blocked his way. Jenna's father was reading the messages, his face growing angrier. Is this true? Have you been deceiving us about everything? Dad, I can explain. Explain what? That you've been cheating on your fiancé and lying about the baby's father. My mother was in tears, and Jenna's mother was demanding answers. Several guests began to leave, finding the situation too uncomfortable. Amid the chaos, someone accidentally cut the cake. Pink filling revealed a girl, Marcus's daughter, just as the text messages had indicated. I left during the height of the argument. The last thing I heard was Jenna's father warning Marcus that he had 5 minutes to explain himself before he called the police. When I got home, I found voicemails from both families demanding explanations. But the most gratifying call was from my brother, who stayed until the end. Dude, Marcus finally admitted everything. Jenna's parents are furious they were deceived and made to look foolish in front of their business contacts. Her dad is talking about cutting her off financially. So yes, the gender reveal party definitely revealed more than just pink or blue. Update 1. 2 weeks later. 2 weeks since the gender reveal disaster, and the fallout has been exactly what Jenna deserved. Her lies caught up with her in the most public way possible. The day after the party, Jenna called, crying and pleading to meet. She insisted the text messages didn't tell the whole story and that she could explain everything. I told her the only thing I wanted was her engagement ring back and her belongings out of my apartment by Friday. She tried to argue that the affair had ended, that she had chosen me, and that we could work through this together. You chose me, Jenna. Your text messages clearly discuss how hard it is to pretend the baby is mine. You've been lying for months. Those messages make it sound worse than it was. Really? Because Marcus calling it our daughter seems pretty straightforward to me. On Tuesday, Jenna's mother called, asking me to reconsider ending the engagement. Jenna made mistakes, but she's carrying what she thought was your baby. That has to count for something. She knew it wasn't my baby. The text messages prove that she and Marcus planned this deception together. But what about the financial arrangements we've made, the wedding deposits, the baby preparations? Cancel everything. I'm not paying for a wedding to someone who's pregnant with another man's child. On Wednesday, I heard through mutual friends that the story was spreading through our social circle. In a small town, people talk. Several had witnessed the text message reveal at the party. The story was circulating as one of the most dramatic family events anyone had seen. Jenna's father called Wednesday evening, sounding exhausted and embarrassed. I owe you an apology. We had no idea Jenna was deceiving us too. We thought we were celebrating our first grandchild with our future son-in-law. I thought I was becoming a father. We were all misled. The business implications are significant. Several of our clients were at that party. Explaining that our daughter lied about her baby's paternity in front of everyone is humiliating. I'm sorry you're dealing with this, but Jenna created this situation. We've decided to cut back our financial support significantly. We can't reward this kind of deceit. On Thursday, Marcus finally called me. The conversation was brief but necessary. I know you hate me, but I wanted you to know the affair started before you and Jenna got engaged. That makes it worse, not better. Marcus, I tried to get her to tell you the truth months ago, but she was scared of losing the stability you provided. So, you both decided to lie to me indefinitely? It got complicated when her family began planning the engagement party and gender reveal. The lies just kept getting bigger. Well, now everyone knows the truth. On Friday, Jenna moved out. Marcus came to help, which was awkward but fitting since they now needed to sort out their actual relationship. She made one last appeal before leaving. I know I handled this poorly, but we had something real for 3 years. Doesn't that mean anything? What we had was real for me. For you, it was just convenient while you sorted out your situation with Marcus. That's not fair. What's not fair is lying about paternity while planning our wedding and letting both our families get emotionally and financially invested in a lie. On Saturday, I heard the final piece of immediate fallout. Jenna's parents had canceled the planned baby shower and drastically reduced their financial support. They were covering basic medical expenses, but nothing beyond that. No nursery setup, no baby gear, no ongoing assistance. They felt that Jenna's deception harmed their reputation in the community. A friend reported that several business relationships were strained due to the public nature of the revelation. Marcus wasn't prepared for the full reality of supporting a pregnant girlfriend without her family's financial backing. Update 2. 6 weeks later. 6 weeks since the text message bombshell, and everyone is adjusting to the new reality. Jenna and Marcus are learning the costs of their lies, catching up with them publicly. The social consequences have been significant, but not catastrophic. The story spread through our community, but people mostly just shook their heads and moved on with their lives. Jenna's family business wasn't severely damaged, but they did lose some social standing. Having their daughter's affair exposed so publicly at a family event created embarrassment that took time to fade. A month ago, Jenna and Marcus attempted to make their relationship work officially. They moved in together and began preparing for parenthood as a couple. It lasted 3 weeks. They were completely incompatible when the secrecy and excitement were gone, a mutual friend reported. Marcus realized he was attracted to the thrill of the affair, not to an actual relationship with Jenna. Jenna moved back in with her parents temporarily. They provided basic support, but their relationship remained strained. 2 weeks ago, I heard Jenna had tried to reach out to me through her sister, asking if I'd consider helping with baby expenses since I'd been part of the pregnancy journey. My response through the sister was simple. Jenna's baby expenses are Marcus' responsibility. I was never actually part of this pregnancy. I was just deceived into thinking I was. Last week, the baby was born, a healthy girl. Marcus was at the hospital, but they're no longer romantically involved. Jenna's parents are assisting with immediate needs, but their support is limited compared to what they had originally planned when they thought I was the father and future son-in-law. Marcus is contributing what he can, but his freelance income isn't sufficient to fully support a baby and Jenna's living expenses. Yesterday, I heard the latest update. Jenna's been asking mutual friends if they think I'd be willing to meet for coffee to discuss co-parenting arrangements, which is delusional since I'm not the father and was never truly involved in this pregnancy beyond being misled about it. Final update. 4 months later. 4 months since the gender reveal truth bomb, and this story has reached its natural conclusion. Everyone learned valuable lessons about honesty and consequences. Jenna is adapting to single motherhood with limited family support and an unreliable co-parent. Marcus contributes sporadically, but they can't maintain a relationship beyond basic childcare coordination. Her social circle has mostly moved on from the drama, though she lost some friendships with people who felt deceived by her lies. The financial reality hit hardest. Without her family's full support, and without Marcus being a reliable partner, Jenna had to adjust to a much more modest lifestyle than she had planned. 3 months ago, I began dating someone new. She knows the whole story, and her response was perfect. Anyone who would lie about pregnancy and paternity while planning a wedding isn't someone you want to build a life with. This new relationship is built on complete honesty. No secret communications. No wondering if I'm being told the truth about fundamental life matters. Last month, Jenna sent a birth announcement along with a note. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I wanted you to know she's healthy. I'll regret lying to you and both our families for the rest of my life. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. The gender reveal party wasn't planned revenge. I discovered the truth 3 days earlier and needed to decide how to handle it. But when I realized Jenna intended to continue the deception in front of both our families, I decided everyone deserved to know the facts before investing more emotional and financial energy into supporting a lie. Jenna learned that deceit has consequences beyond just romantic relationships. Her family relationships, social standing, and financial security all suffered because of her lies. Marcus learned that affairs built on deception don't lead to healthy actual relationships. The thrill of secrecy doesn't survive the reality of responsibility. Both learned that pregnancy doesn't create obligations from people you've betrayed. Having a baby doesn't erase months of deliberate lies. I learned to trust evidence over excuses and to verify important information rather than accepting convenient stories. The text messages revealed the real story about what Jenna and Marcus were planning while I prepared for fatherhood. The gender reveal party simply ensured everyone else knew the truth before celebrating a lie. Sometimes, the most powerful response to deception is exposing the facts and allowing people to face the natural consequences of their choices. Jenna wanted her secret affair, her stable fiancé, and her family's support all at once. She discovered that lies eventually come to light, often at the worst possible moment. The pink cake filling wasn't the only thing revealed that day.